For this hour, we are going to have a conversation about politics and governance, and we are joined by lawyer Dr. Duncan Ojwang. Good morning, Dr. Harry.
Good morning, how are you?
Very well. Welcome to Kenya's biggest conversation.
Yes, sir. Ladies and gentlemen, good morning.
Good morning.
Yes.
Karibu sana.
Asante.
The Homa Bay's finest.
It
doesn't get finer.
It doesn't get finer.
It doesn't get better than this.
Wow.
If there's any other one, it's a photocopy.
It's a photocopy of this one.
Even if it's a colored photocopy, it's a photocopy.
It's a photocopy. City, why don't you give him the day's proverb?
Our proverbs from this week come from the country of Libya. Okay? It came running and was met by a slope.
It came running and was met by a slope. Dr. Ojwang.
I know. How many strikes do I have before I'm counted out or down? Because last time I F'd it. I had an F on this time also. I didn't get it. It was from Ghana. Ghana, I remember it was a tough
But you did not get F.
Okay, there is no F.
It was just an E.
Meet expectation. What's the new
Approaching expectation.
approach? Barely making it.
Believe me.
It came running. It was met by a slope.
Yes.
So, of course, the slope, I assume it will give the momentum. So, there is maybe convergence of nature to the coast. The timing became perfect. It took a life of its own. I don't know, man. I'm not trying to even be like intelligent about this. I'm winging it.
If you relax and continue winging it, you'll still be on the right track.
I'll be on
Because
on
what we're asking for is your opinion.
What's your interpretation?
So it's not possible for you to be wrong.
Wow.
Even if you try. Even if you say that this particular proverb refers to an elephant which was flying in the direction of a crocodile, then they met. I'll say, fine. If that's what you've seen, then that's good.
We'll form an opinion of you, but
Okay.
Yes, but that's your interpretation.
think about it as we go on. A lot has been happening in the country, and a lot is happening now. I mean, if we just go by at 9 a.m. today, the Court of Appeal will be delivering its judgment on this particular case. The chief administrative secretaries.
Yep.
This is after some people went to court and challenged President Ruto's appointment of the CASs. Hi, what do you expect to see from the courts yourself? And what do you read from the entire journey, the politics behind it, the reasoning of the president writing to the Public Service Commission and saying, I need people to help my ministers to help me function. And then people going to court.
It was one about the extra numbers, right? Constitution came to restrain the government. And that is the ideal, that the Constitution restrains and that every act under this Constitution, there's the concept of legality. So not even separation of power, that you only do what you are authorized to do by the Constitution. So that raised issue of whether that concept, whether the process is clouded, but there is the element of seeking the authority, because of course the Constitution says the president can establish any office as they proposed to the public service, which they did. Public service answered. Public service led the recruitment. So it's a very it's more, to me, it's wait and see, because unlike the last time, remember President Uhuru's process did not go through public service. I don't think they created the office legally. This one had that aspect. Then the issue is the numbers. Neither here, court have several options, including saying let them continue, but we have observed this, or totally throw the baby with the bathwater or choose your best 20. So I don't know how it is going to span out. But I know that Kenya are waiting with their breath.
Now let's look at that side of the politics. You see, everybody who's waiting, I mean, many people who are waiting are looking at it probably from the politics of it.
More of politics, I
Not from, the number, whether they are 50, they were 20, they were 15, they were 35 or 49. It is the politics of it. Do you think it's
a political moment, especially the idea that remember the discussion quickly moved, and I think a number of them, like you're saying, it took the issue of cost of living. Do we have money? Can we afford it? But you see, interestingly, court somehow usually rise above that politics and only look at the law. So court cannot say, given that the economy is bad, given that this, because now the president is justifying that this is actually why I'm doing this. The economy is bad. I need a good hand to help me do this. So there is politics. Both sides, there is high expectation. But I don't know. I don't know what will happen after that. I only know that maybe after that we will now start seeing the appointment of ambassadors.
Prof.
There is, yes.
Whenever a legal matter is taken to the judge, presumably it's for interpretation.
Yes, presumably.
Now, interpretation, the letter of the law is clear, you can read it. But what a layman like I thinks is that they then consider the spirit of the law. And the politics of the country forms that.
is a spirit?
Yes. The economic situation in the country is part of it. So it is doubtful as a layman that
Court can ignore.
that the court will ignore the reality in the country. I gave the politics and the economic situation as the reality in the country and the influence it may have in a situation. I highly doubt that they would ignore it. And if they did, then I would argue that, well, the interpretation of the law is a lot simpler than I assumed, because all you do is you look at the letter of the law and you move along with it. But my lived experience is that that rarely happens. Because if you read judgments, the lengthy discourse of judgments, a lot is considered. It's not one simple thing. They look into all these things and then come up and say, look, having looked at this, and then this is the law. They say this is the conclusion. And it is for that reason that even when you have, is it a 3-bench judge? What is it?
Judge
bench.
The
It's
three judges sitting on a bench. Okay.
Yes.
You will find that sometimes it's not unanimous.
Yeah. There's dissent.
There's dissent. If we take the matter to the Supreme Court, again, you will see the same thing. And these are people looking at the same law. They're looking at the same prayer that has been brought before them.
Yeah, but you see, the whole idea of court and judiciary was that politics usually is short-lived. Politicians have a shorter interest towards the next election, and therefore there is need for an arbitrator that is not politically tone-deaf, but can rise above it. Now, that might inform individual feeling of the judge, but it will be very hard because the issue of budget and is under the executive.
Yeah.
And so in separation of power, this is also an arm of the government that is supposed to be the one considering that there is... So I don't see a situation where a court can say, I know you are broke. I know you don't have money. How are you going to pay for this? Because that become a policy issue that is and if they, unless they link it and say, but for this case, I'm not going to get my right to health, then they're saying, okay, there's a human right issue. But let's wait and see. You look like
I look like
you are expecting
no
ground swelling.
not really. What I look like may be deceptive. Let me tell you what I believe.
Yeah.
I actually do not, in my mind,
Yeah.
there is absolutely nothing wrong with the president appointing the number of people he wants to. For me, that is really not the issue. The economic situation, not the issue.
Yeah.
The problem is the optics.
So the politics.
The optics. Yeah.
Because
Optics.
optics has a play on politics.
It has a play on politics. It's the optics. What exactly are you demonstrating when we are talking about austerity, and by that action, you are actually splurging, you are actually going on overdrive in spending? That's what it looks like. If you look at the details of what it will cost to keep them, and you look at our budget, and you look at our GDP, and look at our expenditure, the amount is really not that big.
Yeah.
But if you're looking at the reality that we have in the country, it is a big deal. Because on the one hand, you cannot tell your citizens tighten their belt and be ready to pay more money. And on the other hand, you, the executive,
I'm not doing the same.
you're not doing the same. Now, that is where the problem comes in.
And then you look at the characters being appointed, and those are characters who have held public office before. They are retired governors. They are, politicians who've tried it out. They are people of means
Yes.
who are getting the jobs.
Yes.
Probably the politics, the optics would have been different if he actually went for the hustlers.
Believe me, the discussion would have been very different.
So this
All
is
the young
somebody who's
people.
been a chair
Yeah, the
of
young
this
people.
market, and he's been here for long, and yet these are his academic qualifications.
Yes.
And so what we are doing is using his experience in life,
To do ABC.
bringing him into the Ministry of Cooperatives.
This is the chairman
and SMEs.
of the Kariobangi Light Industries. We have given him CAS of the trade ministry. You'd say, see?
But you see, that's where I was, because I spoke to some young people who are talking of the number. There are some young people in cars.
Of
there
course.
are.
How many?
I'm not sure about that.
They are never many. They are token.
But you see, the idea that CAS is a mentorship program, I don't agree with that.
And why?
That,
why
that-
don't you agree with
that? For you to be mentored, we get you a job where you earn 500,000 and a
And they give you
bodyguard.
a car.
But we are mentoring you. We are mentoring you to be what, God? So after your mentorship, where are you going? I mean, CAS is a big job. So I got it. It's so funny when I find a young person talking of this is where. So you will go run for an MP, umejituma. I give you that.
Okay.
You didn't make it. Then as a reward, voila. You're supposed to be CAS as a mentorship, not a job. This is just to mentor you. I don't know we are being mentored for what.
As a former governor.
No, as a young person,
As a young person.
that failed to
Okay.
grab this MP seat, you are mentored using CAS.
CAS.
So 600,000, mortgage
Vehicle.
for 20 million. Your mentorship program,
Yes, of course.
yeah. A bodyguard. That's how you are. That's how I want to be mentored.
Yes.
And I mean, what kind of nonsense is that? And you see, I actually encourage young people that be at the mind of the president when you come with an argument of youth, but you can't call CAS a mentorship program. Which deal, which contract did we have with you that I'm to mentor you to be what? You are, then from there you become a minister?
Yes.
So we have already decided you are going to be a minister. We are just keeping you there in the holding room.
Yeah,
until you
such a
mature
time
enough.
So the former governors or those who
Talk
were
of privileges.
So let me ask you. So the former governors who then obviously had no place but needed to be relevant, the former, cheerleaders of a particular party who were then also given this position, were also saying that they are being mentored as well.
No, them there, it's a job
Also,
for
it's
them.
different. So within this CAS
For them, it's a
position,
reward.
there are those who are being mentored, doing the same job as those who are being rewarded for positions of loyalty.
Of what they've done. No, just say that I need a job. I think it's a very high job, but I think consider that I'm headed there. Give me this job, but don't call it at the age of 23 that this is how I like to be mentored.
Same
I
thing,
get
then.
mentored by 600 million job per month.
Absolutely.
That's my version of
Then
mentorship.
we can carry the argument
if you look-
forward and say also then for former governors,
Yeah.
then don't call it a job, call it a reward for your loyalty. Don't call it a job.
No, let
The same
both
way
of
we
them
say
call
don't
it a job.
They can call
Let
it.
the mentee
No, say,
and the mentor call it a job.
But they're saying that we need this position for a CAS. This is a former governor who maybe has done 2 terms, cannot come back, does not find a place where they can be relevant in government or in any other way, politics or otherwise. And then because you were loyal to the administration of the day, we say, okay, well, here's a position, let us give it to you. It is the same argument that you use for, don't call it a mentorship position for 23-year-old, whereby you're getting 600,000 shillings a month and a car and a bodyguard. Don't call it a job for this person. Call it a reward for loyalty.
But if 2 people showed up, that you wanted to replace or to add another person in your bench, and somebody showed up saying that, okay, what do you guys do? Different conversation. Somebody said, I have an experience of 10 years governor, I have an experience of MD, I have an experience of having run, I have an experience of this much. And somebody showed up with a CV as short as a miniskirt saying, I'm here to be mentored into this job. Who will you hire to be part of your bench? I mean, doesn't experience count for something? I understand the diversity, and me, the diversity that makes sense to me in this country more is the diversity of region. Because I find the diversity of women, the diversity of age, it can camouflage a lot. I can simply go to my village in Rangu and bring my mothers and bring my brothers, younger brothers, and say, youths,
Covered.
hey, youth to youth,
Done.
Women,
Done.
but I don't have, because the cancer of this country, the cancer of this country, yes, youth have had, they have had institutionally, they have also a short end of the stick, I agree, generally. But the cancer of this country is regional diversity. But there's this decoy diversity popping up here and there, suburban diversity, city diversity, hockey mom diversity, soccer mom diversity. Those are just camouflage.
What?
The Constitution recognizes all the form of diversity, but I think sometimes we are on overdrive, and I think we
leave out those that actually needs propping.
You know, Prof, the reason why you hear me say what I'm saying is I'm asking myself this fundamental question, because I am not taking the appointment of the CASs in isolation.
Yeah, okay.
I'm looking at everything that is happening in the country, and I keep asking, why does the executive initiate so many things at the same time, and they all seem to be important, and they all involve money?
And urgent.
Why? And they're all urgent, and it's immediate. Why? And yet, we seem to have a fundamental problem that there's talk about addressing, but does not seem to be addressed.
Which one is that?
Baba, it's called hunger, reducing it, and making sure people can actually afford to live on a daily basis. Something fairly simple, not complicated. And yet the action that you see, I have been of the view for us, from last year, this thing of petrol is at 20 bob. I said, peg it to 200 and sit pretty and wait. That has been my view.
Wow.
It is 195 now.
201 in places.
Yeah. On the 14th, April will do their thing, isn't it? They'll probably lower it down by 3 shillings. And then come the following month, they'll raise it by 6 shillings.
Yes. Lower it to raise it.
It's they're a predictable lot. What I'm saying is, when I look at some of the things that the executive is doing, if you remove the political insinuations from them, some of them are definitely very good things. There is no question about it. However, when there are that many, the viability possibility is outweighed by the probability. You look and you say, it doesn't look like this thing can actually work the way it is being said. And then you look at a report by the Auditor General, and the Auditor General is telling you, we actually don't know how much we owe and how much we've borrowed. There is no record of it.
But we are paying.
But we are paying. So it begs the question, so what are we paying? I mean, what I'm saying is, there's a lot happening at the same time, and just when you think it's a lot, something else comes into the mix.
Flooding.
Yes. So now, today we have this ruling that we're waiting for. Okay? I personally don't really care whichever way it goes.
Okay.
Not really. Will it solve the fundamental problem that we keep speaking of? The answer is resoundingly no, it won't. Will these people be able to solve the problem? No, they won't.
They might dent the problem. They might not totally solve it, but they might give it a good hit.
How exactly? How exactly?
And you know, and you are right that really what we are reacting to, and even the anger, and very selective anger. I've realized this is the country that this anger can be steered towards a certain direction.
It can be. It is.
It is. So people are reacting to narratives, and that's what we were saying here last time. So the anger of how dare you, even the posterity measure, because you know, like State House cannot decide, okay, let us do porridge because the economy is bad. The international visitor will still have buffet or whatever they are eating.
Why must he have? Why can't the visitor drink porridge with us?
No, but you see,
when you go home to visit your relatives, and you are the big relative who's come from the US,
They change the jogo.
the remaining Jogo will be killed. Yes,
Yeah.
but if you found them drinking porridge, is that not what you'll drink?
you'll drink it as an inning. But you see,
On day 3.
but you see, there's two ways. When you want to recover, you can waste the strategy and roll and say this is me, or there are things you are saying we must put in place to build from here. So if you are saying, this company is things are getting tight, we are going to now cut budget for whatever, there are things that might not even matter much or save you much, but will cost you more. Because you still must work, and you still must work as a nation or a country. State House must still be the place where your guests are coming. And are you not a man of faith where we talk of, I don't look like what I have been through? That there is the element of grace. I know that's a new word for you, grace.
Faith is a substance of things hoped for, the
Yeah.
conviction of things not seen.
And once you have hope for them, you act like you are seeing them, isn't it?
Yes.
Oh, you have little faith.
Dr. Duncan Ojwang is a lawyer. He's a law lecturer. He sits on several boards. How many boards are you on now, Doc? How many boards are you on?
Moche Secondary, Kenya Power, my church board, SDA Church. I can be even on
Not you can. How many are you on today? Not the ones that you hope to
a
be
number of funeral boards.
Not the ones you hope for in faith.
on. So, Board of Kenya Power,
Yeah, the board of Kenya
Nairobi-
Power. Nairobi Rivers Commission.
and Nairobi Rivers Commission.
And I'm no longer in the academia. I left.
Okay.
Yeah.
So-
So Kenya, in this board, by law, you are supposed to be independent, and they are really, really part-time.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
This is the Situation Room, the only way to start your day.